In the grand ballroom of the city's most exclusive gala, under chandeliers that dripped like frozen tears, a sea of tuxedos and gowns swirled in indifferent elegance. Laughter tinkled like champagne flutes, deals whispered in shadowed corners, and the air hummed with the self-importance of the elite. There, in the corner by the wilting ferns, stood Alex Harper, a rumpled single dad in a borrowed suit that hung loose on his frame, his calloused hands clutching a frayed program like a lifeline. No one glanced his way. Whispers slithered past him. Who invited the help? A waiter bumped his shoulder without apology, and the crowd parted like he was invisible fog. But then, from the podium where spotlights crowned the powerful, rose Elena Voss, the billionaire tech mogul whose empire spanned continents, her voice a silken thunder that silenced the room. "Everyone," she said, her eyes locking on Alex with a fire that could melt steel. "This man, this father, this fighter, has more heart than all of us combined. Ignore him at your peril, because he's the reason we're here tonight." The room froze. Glasses trembled midair. And in that heartbeat, Alex's world, long shattered, began to mend. But how did a forgotten soul like him end up in the crosshairs of a titan like her? Pull up a chair, hit that like button if stories of quiet heroes stir your soul, and subscribe so you never miss the tales that remind us, sometimes, the smallest spark ignites the greatest fire. Let's rewind to where it all began, 3 years earlier, on a rain-slicked street in the shadow of forgotten dreams. Alex Harper had once been the kind of man who believed in sunrises. At 35, with a laugh that could coax smiles from storm clouds, he'd built a life with Sarah, his high school sweetheart, in a cozy bungalow on Elm Street where the roses bloomed wild and unchecked. They were the couple everyone envied, not for flash, but for the quiet rhythm of their days, mornings tangled in sheets, evenings with takeout and bad TV, and in between, the dream of something bigger. Alex sketched ideas for eco-friendly gadgets in spiral notebooks, inventions born from his days as a mechanic tinkering with engines that guzzled too much fuel. Sarah, a schoolteacher with eyes like summer skies, cheered him on, her faith a balm against his doubts. Then came Lily, their miracle, a tiny bundle with Sarah's eyes and Alex's stubborn chin, born on a crisp autumn day when the leaves painted the world in gold. For 2 perfect years, they were unbreakable. Family barbecues in the yard, Lily's first steps echoing through the house like applause, Alex's prototypes cluttering the garage like promises waiting to hatch. But life, that cruel architect, has a way of toppling the sturdiest towers. It started with a cough, Sarah's, dismissed as a seasonal bug. Then fatigue, shadows under her eyes that no amount of rest could chase. The diagnosis came like a thief in the night. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer, aggressive and unforgiving. Alex held her hand through the chemo haze. The hospital beeps a sinister lullaby, while Lily, barely 3, drew pictures of mommy with wings to make her better. Sarah fought like a lioness, her spirit unbowed even as her body betrayed her. "Promise me, Alex," she whispered one midnight, her voice a threadbare veil. "You'll give Lily the stars. Don't let the world dim her light." He nodded, throat tight as barbed wire, and 6 months later, under a sky bruised with grief, he buried the woman who was his compass. The funeral was a blur of black umbrellas and casseroles that went uneaten. Neighbors murmured sympathies that evaporated like morning mist, and then silence. The world moved on, but Alex's stopped cold. Raising Lily alone was a battlefield Alex never trained for. At 5, she was a whirlwind of questions and cuddles, her curls a riot of brown that caught the light like Sarah's laugh once had. But money became the monster under the bed. The bungalow's mortgage loomed like a guillotine, medical bills piled like accusations, and Alex's mechanic job at the local garage paid just enough to keep the lights flickering. He pawned his wedding ring first, Sarah's voice echoing in his head, forgiving even in absence. Then the toolbox, sold piece by piece until his hands, once sure, trembled with the weight of what was lost. Nights blurred into shifts. Grease monkey days fixing cars for folks who barely nodded thanks, moonlighting as a delivery driver until his eyes burned red. Lily sensed the strain, her small hand slipping into his at bedtime. "Daddy, why do you look sad like the rain?" she'd ask, and he'd force a smile, spinning tales of far-off adventures to drown the truth. But inside, doubt gnawed. Was he enough? Could a broken man stitch a whole world for his girl? Socially, Alex faded into the wallpaper. Playdates? The other parents eyed his faded jeans and calloused palms, their conversations skittering away like startled birds. PTA meetings were minefields of minivans and manicures, where single dads like him were anomalies, pitted or overlooked. "How's the wife?" someone would blunder, and Alex would mumble about. "Just us now," watching their smiles curdle into awkward silences. He tried dating apps once, swiping through profiles that screamed polish and perfection, but his bio, "Single dad, inventor at heart, seeking someone who loves greasy diners," drew crickets. Rejection stacked like unpaid bills, reinforcing the lie. He was invisible, unworthy of second glances. Yet for Lily, he armored up. Her kindergarten teacher praised her curiosity, how she'd build towers from blocks that defied gravity, just like Daddy's sketches. That spark kept him going, late nights at the kitchen table, resurrecting old ideas under the harsh glow of a single bulb. His latest, a portable water purifier for disaster zones, simple, solar-powered, born from news clips of families like his own, adrift in chaos. The first real crack in his isolation came unexpectedly, at a community fair on a sun-drenched Saturday. Lily tugged him toward the science booth, her eyes wide as saucers at the bubbling volcanoes and magnetic tricks. Alex lingered, chatting with a volunteer, a wiry engineer named Tom, who spotted the grease stains on his hands like a badge of honor. "You look like you've wrenched more than a few miracles," Tom said, and for the first time in months, Alex felt seen. They swapped stories over lukewarm coffee, and Tom mentioned a local startup incubator, a free program for dreamers scraping by. "Pitch your gadget there. Worst case, you get free coffee and feedback." Alex hesitated, the word, pitch, tasting like hubris, but Lily's grin, "Daddy's gonna make clean water for the whole world," sealed it. He dusted off his prototype, a jury-rigged contraption of PVC pipes and scavenged solar cells, and signed up. The incubator night was a revelation, and a revelation's cruel twin. Held in a converted warehouse buzzing with hipsters in hoodies and venture types nursing craft beers, it was a carnival of ambition. Alex arrived early, Lily in tow because sitters cost what he didn't have. She colored quietly in the corner while he rehearsed in his head, palms slick as engine oil. When his turn came, he stepped to the mic, voice steady, as he unveiled the purifier. "Imagine families in floods or famines, turning dirty puddles into life. This device, affordable, portable, could save thousands." He demoed it with a murky jug from the fair, the water emerging crystal clear under the lights. Lily clapped first, her pride a spotlight brighter than any stage. But the room? Polite nods from the back, a few murmurs, then the pivot to the next presenter, a sleek app for pet sitting, funded on the spot. Questions for Alex trickled. "Scalability? Patents?" He answered as best he could, hard hammering, but the energy shifted. Whispers, "Nice idea, but rough around the edges." By night's end, he collected business cards that yellowed in his wallet, promises that evaporated like exhaust. Undeterred, or pretending to be, Alex poured himself into refining the device. He scavenged parts from junkyards, bartered with old garage buddies for electronics, and tested it in the backyard until Lily declared it magic juice maker. But rejections mounted like storm clouds. Emails to investors ghosted him. Crowdfunding pages languished at 12% funded. "Too niche," one reply read. "Polish your pitch," said another. The toll deepened. Bills overdue, the bank sent notices, and Lily's school fees loomed. A field trip to the zoo she dreamed of, now a luxury. Worse, her cough started that winter, a persistent rattle that echoed Sarah's final days. Pediatrician visits stretched the budget thin. "Just a virus," they said, but Alex lay awake, terror coiling like smoke. Was history repeating? He skipped meals to buy her antibiotics. His reflection in the bathroom mirror a gaunt stranger with hollow cheeks. Friends, those few left, urged him to quit dreaming, get a real job. "For Lily's sake," his brother Mike said over a rare beer, eyes pitying. "You're killing yourself, man." Alex nodded, but inside, Sarah's promise burned. The stars for their girl. Spring brought a fragile thaw. Lily's cough eased, and with it, a school project on inventions lit her fire. "Daddy, tell them about your water saver." She beamed at open house, dragging classmates to his booth of salvage wonders. One mom, harried but kind, slipped him her card. "I'm in PR. Let's talk." It led to a small gig, voicing testimonials for a local eco-brand, but the check barely dented the debt. Still, it was momentum, a whisper that maybe, just maybe, he wasn't chasing shadows. That's when Elena Voss entered the frame, not with fanfare, but a glitch in the matrix of his ordinary chaos. Elena Voss was a force of nature cloaked in tailored silk. At 42, she'd clawed her way from a trailer park in rural Ohio to the penthouse suites of Silicon Valley, founding Voss Dynamics, a behemoth in sustainable tech that powered half the world's green grids. Her story was legend. Orphaned young, scholarship scraped from sheer will. First patent at 23 for a wind turbine optimizer that netted her first million. Billboards bore her face. Sharp cheekbones, raven hair in a flawless chignon, eyes like polished obsidian that saw through boardrooms and balderdash alike. Magazines dubbed her the Iron Orchid. Beautiful and unbreakable, her fortune swelling to billions on waves of innovation. But beneath the gloss, Elena carried fractures. Success had cost her. A marriage dissolved in the acid of her ambition. Friendships sacrificed to 15-hour days. A womb that echoed empty despite IVF's cold arithmetic. She volunteered at galas, donated fortunes to causes, but solitude was her shadow. Nights in vast estates where echoes mocked her triumphs. "What's the point of empires?" she confided to her reflection. "If there's no one to share the throne?" Their worlds collided at a most unlikely altar, a free clinic's waiting room, on a muggy July afternoon. Lily's cough had flared again, post-bronchitis this time, and Alex juggled forms while she fidgeted with a toy stethoscope. Elena was there incognito. No entourage, just a baseball cap and oversized shades, volunteering as a translator for immigrant families, her fluency in 5 languages a quiet gift. She'd founded the clinic years back, a pet project amid her board battles, but today, she manned the intake desk, her manicure hidden under clipboards. Alex approached, Lily on his hip, exhaustion etching lines around his eyes. "Harper, Alexander. Follow up for my daughter." Elena glanced up, and something snagged, perhaps the way Lily buried her face in his neck, trusting utterly, or the quiet dignity in his rumpled shirt. "Take seat 3, she said softly, her voice stripped of its public polish. As he turned, Lily dropped her toy. It skittered under the desk. Elena knelt to retrieve it, handing it back with a smile that cracked her facade. "Brave girl," she murmured, and Lily, shy but sensing kindness, whispered, "Daddy makes things that help people. Like you." That whisper lingered. Elena watched them through the afternoon, Alex reading picture books with animated voices, distracting Lily from the needle's prick, his large hands gentle as whispers. In a world of her own making, where vulnerability was a vice, she saw a man unarmored, raw and real. Later, as the clinic emptied, she caught him in the parking lot, buckling Lily into a car seat that sagged on ancient shocks. Impulse seized her, a rarity for the calculated Voss. "Mr. Harper?" He turned, startled, wiping sweat from his brow. "Your daughter's lucky. Not every kid gets a dad who invents hope." Alex chuckled, self-deprecating. "Hope's in short supply these days. Just trying to keep the wolves at bay." She pressed a card into his hand, not the corporate gold, but a plain one for the clinic's mentorship program. "If you ever need an ear or a prototype tested, call Elena." No last name, no titles. He pocketed it, nodding thanks, but as he drove off, her mind churned. Who was this man, pouring love into cracks the world ignored? For Alex, the card was just another maybe, tucked beside yellow business cards. But fate, that sly weaver, tugged harder. Weeks later, at a sustainability expo in the convention center, a whirlwind of booths hawking solar panels and hemp sneakers, he set up a modest table for his purifier, Lily's artwork as backdrop. Crowds milled, but his corner gathered dust. Flashy holograms drew the eyes, not his humble rig. Elena arrived as keynote speaker, her talk on invisible innovations, a clarion call for overlooked genius. Backstage, nerves jangling from the applause, she wandered the floor incognito again, drawn to a child's drawing of a faucet spewing rainbows. There was Lily, perched on a stool, demoing the purifier to a bored teen. "See? Dirty water goes in, clean comes out. Daddy says it'll save the ocean one day." Elena's heart stuttered. She knelt, cap low. "Your dad's a wizard, then." Lily beamed. "Wanna see?" Alex, wiping a spill, looked up and froze. The clinic woman, here eyes alight. "Elena? What brings?" "Curiosity," she said, voice low. "Show me." He did, hands steadier under her gaze, explaining the filters, the solar trickle charge, the cost under $50. She listened, not with a predatory scan of investors, but genuine wonder, firing questions that peeled back his defenses. "Why this? Not apps or EVs, water." Alex shrugged, glancing at Lily. "My wife, she died waiting for clean meds in a chemo ward. Too many places, families like us fight shadows instead of living. If I can tip the scale." His voice cracked, and Elena, Empress of Empires, felt her own armor slip. She'd lost her mother to tainted water in that trailer park, a quiet tragedy amid lead pipes and poverty. "It's brilliant," she said finally. "Raw, but brilliant. Let me connect you, labs, testing. No strings." He searched her face for the catch, finding none. "Why me?" She smiled faint. "Because someone's got to see the stars before they shine." What followed was a tentative bridge across chasms. Elena pulled strings discreetly, access to her R&D facility, where engineers in white coats pored over Alex's design like holy writ. He commuted 2 hours each way, Lily in tow on weekends, her giggles echoing in sterile halls as she bossed the techs. Progress surged, efficiency doubled, costs halved, prototypes sleekened. But challenges loomed, jagged as ever. Funding dried, Elena's board balked at, and proving grassroots, labeling it a vanity project. "Stick to acquisitions, Voss," the chairman sneered in glass-walled meetings. Elena fought, her isolation deepening. Colleagues whispered of her soft spot. Tabloids speculated on a mystery muse. Personally, walls rose. Dinners turned consultations, where Alex shared Lily's latest milestone, a lost tooth, a school play, unloading burdens he carried solo. Elena listened, her laughter thawing long-frozen corners, but vulnerability terrified her. "I'm not built for this," she confessed one evening over takeout in the lab, rain lashing windows. Empires, yes. Hearts? They're Messier. Alex reached across, hand brushing hers, electric, uncharted. Messy means real. Sarah taught me that. For Alex, the whirlwind unearthed ghosts. Success teased, but doubt whispered sabotage. Lily's school counselor flagged. Adjustment issues. Bedwetting after overnights at Elena's sterile condo, where marble floors echoed too loud. She misses home, Daddy. The note read, guilt knifing him. Financially teetering, the incubator promised a grant, but bureaucracy snarled it in red tape. A rival startup, flush with VC cash, poached his early sketches via a leaky email, slapping their logo on a knockoff. Rage boiled, nights pacing the bungalow, fists clenched, Lily's soft snores his anchor. They're stealing your dream, she cried one meltdown, hugging his legs. He scooped her up, tears hot. Not if we fight smarter, Bean. Elena stepped in, her lawyers eviscerating the theft in depositions that made headlines. But the victory tasted bittersweet. Trust frayed when paparazzi snapped them at a park, headlines screaming, Billionaire's toy boy? Neighbors gossiped, Mike warned of gold diggers, and Alex retreated, fearing he'd tainted Lily's world with scandal stain. The fracture peaked that autumn, at a harvest festival where leaves crunched underfoot like brittle promises. Elena invited them for apple picking, her first family outing, disguised as research on rural water needs. Lily hooped on hayrides, Elena's laughter mingling with hers, as cider stained their chins. But dusk brought the storm. A leaked photo, Alex arm in arm with her, splashed across feeds. Calls flooded, investors pulling back, the board summoning Elena for a review. She arrived at his door past midnight, rain-soaked, eyes stormy. It's fallout. They think you're leverage. Alex, Lily asleep upstairs, paced the kitchen lit by fridge hum. Leverage? Or charity case? Be honest, Elena. This started as pity, didn't it? Her flinch was answer enough. Words erupted, his fear of being the project, her terror of attachments caused. I built walls for a reason, she hurled. You crashed through like you own the place. He fired back. Maybe because you let me, until it got real. Doors slammed, silence reigned, and for weeks the bridge burned. Healing came circuitous, through Lily's unerring heart. A fever spiked her temp one night, echoes of Sarah's decline, and Alex rushed her to the clinic, Elena's domain. There, in the quiet hours, Elena waited, cap discarded, offering broth and stories of her own lost childhood. I was Lily once, scared, small, betting on a parent who bet back. Alex, hollow-eyed, saw her not as Titan, but survivor. We're both patched quilts, you and I, stitched from what's left. Forgiveness bloomed tentative. Coffee meetups, no pretenses, sharing scars over park benches. Elena opened her vaults, not just labs, but ledgers of loneliness. Success is a hollow crown when worn alone. Alex shared his notebooks, sketches intertwined with Lily's doodles, dreams woven with love. Romance simmered slow, a hearth fire not inferno. First kiss under harvest moon, tentative as new leaves. But the gauntlet wasn't done. The purifier's beta test in a hurricane-ravaged town went awry. A batch failed filtration, tainted water sicking a dozen kids. Backlash roared, lawsuits, media maelstrom branding Alex. Amateur hack. Elena's stock dipping like a stone. He spiraled, garage a tomb of dismantled dreams, Lily's questions arrows to his heart. Did the magic break, Daddy? Elena, besieged by sharks in suits, stood firm. We fix it. Together. Sleepless weeks blurred, root cause traced to a faulty seal, redesigned overnight. They airlifted units, Alex on the ground distributing, hands shaking as apologies poured forth. Forgiveness there was harder, villagers' eyes wary, but one elder's nod. You came back. Cracked the dam. Sales trickled, then surged. Grants followed, the device a lifeline in global crisis. The gala loomed as crescendo, Elena's annual summit for innovators, a glittering tribunal where fortunes flipped. Alex, nominated reluctantly, arrived dreading the crush. Invites trickled to him via Elena's nudge, but the room's chill confirmed his fears. Sidelong glances, murmurs of, "That single dad fling." Investors circling like vultures scenting weakness. He stood by the ferns, Lily home with Mike, program clutched, pitching to deaf ears. A venture shark dismissed him mid-sentence. "Sweet story, but we back winners." Laughter rippled, and Alex shrank, the old invisible cloak settling heavy. Then Elena took the stage, her gown a cascade of midnight, voice steady as she recounted the summit's theme. Hidden heroes. Slides flickered, flooded villages, parched refugees, then his purifier in action, testimonials scrolling like psalms. Gasps rippled. "But heroes aren't born in boardrooms," she continued, eyes finding his across the sea. "They're forged in garages, in grief's forge, by hands that hold families together when the world pulls apart." Spotlight swung, pitting him gentle. "Alex Harper isn't just an inventor. He's a father who turned loss into legacy, ignored by many but seen by those who matter. His device? It saved lives, quietly, profoundly. Tonight, Voss Dynamics invests $10 million, not for profit, but promise. Because everyone deserves a voice." The room erupted, not derision, but awe. Applause thundered, hands clasped his, cards showered like confetti. Alex, tears blurring, met her gaze. Gratitude, love, a future forged. In the afterglow, as stars wheeled overhead, Alex and Elena walked the balcony, Lily's voice on speakerphone bubbling thanks. The purifier scaled, factories hummed, aid orgs clamored, Lily's college fund swelled. But deeper, resolutions rooted. Alex proposed under those same roses Sarah loved, Elena's yes a vow to build not empires, but home. Challenges lingered, blended families' tugs, Elena's bored battles, Alex's impostor whispers. But they faced them tandem, vulnerability's braids of strength. And so, dear viewer, as the credits roll on this tapestry of trials and triumphs, remember, in a world quick to overlook the quiet warriors, the single parents juggling heartbreaks, the dreamers sketching in shadows, we're all one voice away from revelation. See the ignored, speak for the silent, and watch worlds transform. If Alex's fire kindled yours, smash that like, share with a soul who needs it, and subscribe for more stories that prove your spark matters. Until next time, chase those stars. They're closer than you think.